Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
You think he had a chance to win?
GervontaDavis and TerenceCrawford are arguing again, and this time, their words are as powerful as a knockout punch. Their feud has been going on for a while, but Tank's recent comments about Crawford's fight with Canelo have made things even more intense. Crawford is moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo later this year. Many in the boxing world think this will be a huge challenge. Gaining 14 pounds to face a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo is not easy, but Crawford has
lead with ego. Like if you hear somebody like Tank say, 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking. You know, he
has made it clear why he wants to do it. Crawford said he wants to challenge himself. He called Canelo a great fighter, one of the best from Mexico, and said he himself is also one of the all-time greats. So why not put it to the test? He believes taking big risks can lead to big rewards. For him, this fight is about making history and proving himself against one of the best in the world. But Tank Davis wasn't convinced. He didn't buy Crawford's reasoning and made sure everyone knew his opinion. According to Tank, Crawford isn't fighting for legacy, he's doing it for the money. And he didn't say it as a guess or an opinion. He spoke as if it were a fact, as if money was the only reason Crawford took the fight. And that was just the beginning. Tank didn't stop at accusing Crawford of chasing a payday. He went further. He questioned how Crawford has been looking. So strong in the ring lately. He needs the money for sure, I'm telling you, Tank said. He's a good fighter, but smaller fighters are usually better because they know how to move. But didn't Gamboa clip him before? How the fuck is he? Looking this strong over the past year? He hasn't been getting hit or anything. That's that.
Somebody asked Lomachenko.
No.
All right.
Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that? Oh, Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready.
That's snacks. I'm telling you. Tank's words weren't just criticism. They were a direct shot at Crawford's physical transformation. Wasn't just questioning Crawford's strength. He was suggesting that something suspicious was going on. He brought up Yuriorkis Gamboa, a fighter who hurt Crawford years ago, and pointed out that it didn't make sense how Crawford has looked so dominant lately, and just to make sure people understood what he was implying, Tank mentioned snack and Victor Conte. Snack nutrition has a history in boxing and not always a good one. Whenever fighters are linked to it, there are always rumors about performance enhancers and whether their strength is natural. Tank didn't directly accuse Crawford of
Talking about Victor Conte.
He went to jail, right?
Victor Conte?
Yeah. And he the owner of the snack shop, right? And he went to jail. Now it's like, you see, I don't want to throw him out of the bus, but you see
anything, but he knew exactly what he was doing. By bringing up snack, he planted doubt in people's minds. He wanted them to question Crawford's recent performances and wonder if there was more to his strength than just training. Crawford wasn't going to let that slide. He fired back just as hard, aiming straight at Tank's ego. Why is he talking like he's the greatest in the sport? Little dude hasn't even fought anyone. The fans know it. We know it. Crawford wasn't just clapping back. He was reminding everyone that Tank hasn't faced the same level of competition he has. Because as
what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
All right. As much as Tank is one of boxing's biggest stars, the biggest criticism against him has always been his choice of opponents. He hasn't fought Devin Haney. He hasn't fought Shakur Stevenson. He hasn't fought Vasily Lomachenko. Fans have been calling him out for it for years, and Crawford made sure to hit that weak spot directly. And Crawford didn't stop there. He took it even further, making it clear that Tank hasn't been tested the way he has. The only way Tank will learn his lesson is if he gets dropped by his opponent. Crawford wasn't just talking about fights, he was talking about humbling experiences. He pointed out that Tank has never been in a fight where he's had to truly dig deep, where he's been in serious trouble. Crawford, on the other hand, has fought...
Be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
You got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him come and touch it.
Oh, man.
Killers. He's been hurt, battled through tough moments, and still come out on top. But when it comes to Tank, Crawford doesn't see that same kind of adversity in his career. To drive his point home even more, he backed Lamont Roach, the man Tank is set to fight next. The guy he's fighting, Lamont, that's a fighter who has more balls than he will ever have. Crawford wasn't just calling out Tank's competition, he was questioning his heart.
I know we last talked Big Bro first to Tank, right? And then, or is it...
Whoever. I told Tank. Tank know what's up. You know what I mean? He know what he up against when he fights Shakur or Keyshawn. You know what I mean? He want to fight these guys that everybody in the world know that ain't gonna give him no fight.
Crawford didn't just praise Roach. He used him to call out Tank's entire approach to boxing. He was saying that Roach, a fighter with far less fame and fewer big paydays, is more willing to take risks than Tank has ever been. And that's a shot that cuts deep, because if there's one thing Tank doesn't want to be seen as, it's a fighter who plays it safe. According to Crawford, Lamont Roach isn't picking his opponents carefully like Tank does. So, in Crawford's eyes, Tank has no right to accuse anyone else of chasing money. Interview 7. That's the irony Crawford wanted everyone to see. While Tank was out here saying Crawford is only taking this fight for money, Crawford flipped it right back on him. He was basically...
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look? 147? 147. I tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't got no chance.
I already know he is.
saying, you're the one picking your opponents carefully. You're the one avoiding the biggest challenges. You're the one making sure every fight you take is the safest path to the bag. Tank knew exactly what he was doing when he made those comments. He wanted to control the conversation, to make people question why Crawford took this fight. Was it really about legacy or just about the money? And by bringing up Snack, he wanted to stir up doubts about Crawford's performances in the ring. But Crawford didn't just sit back, he fired back, and he made sure to hit Tank where it hurt. And with the way things are going, this back and forth is far from over. Tank has never been one to follow the crowd. While other boxing stars are chasing huge paydays in Saudi Arabia, he's standing firm in the U.S., refusing to let outsiders, who, in his words, don't know nothing about the sport, take control. He's watching as some of the biggest names like Crawford, Canelo, and Benavidez sign deals and fly across the world to fight under Turki Al-Sheikh's banner. But Tank, he's not interested. He's focused on building his own empire and won't let anyone else dictate his moves. For Davis, it's not just about the money, it's about the integrity of the sport. And after seeing what happened at a recent Saudi Arabia event, he's more convinced than ever that staying put was the right decision. You guys saw the guy? Al-Sheikh looked at the scorecards.
Terence Crawford is good, but he's not what people make him say. He's not pound for pound.
That wasn't just an offhand comment. Davis was calling out something he sees as a serious issue. During the Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz fight, Al-Sheikh was caught on camera standing behind Shiraz's corner, holding up 2 fingers. Many believe he was signaling that Shiraz needed a knockout to win. And right after that, the fight ended in a highly questionable draw, allowing Adams to keep his WBC middleweight title. The WBC and the British Boxing Board of Control tried to dismiss it, saying Al-Sheikh couldn't have known the scorecards. But Davis isn't buying it. He saw what he saw.
What I care about these titles for? You can't be no belt.
Makeup covers up a lot of imperfections. Matchmaking can do the same thing. What are you scared of? In this sport, it's like your job never done. Anybody could be undisputed in the right fight.
You want me to go sell a title that I didn't work my whole life for, but boxers do that.
And if the sport's biggest power players are willing to ignore it, that only strengthens his suspicions. Davis has been in boxing long enough to know that corruption exists. Bad decisions, politics, favoritism. It's always been part of the game. But this feels different. To him, it's not just bias. It's an entire sport being taken over by one man with unlimited money. And Davis isn't about to play along. They were saying, man, we got To get Tank over here for a fight with Shakur. Man, I already know what you're gonna do. He knows exactly why they want him in Saudi Arabia. A fight between him and Shakur Stevenson would be a blockbuster, one of the biggest matchups in boxing. But Davis isn't just thinking about the paycheck. He's looking at the bigger picture. He sees how things are being run over there, and he doesn't like it. And let's be real, Davis doesn't need to go anywhere. He's already a star. His upcoming fight against Lamont Roach Jr. is set to break records at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, making it the most lucrative live boxing gate in the arena since he last fought there 3 years ago. He's the biggest draw in the lightweight division, and he's got massive fights lined up for the future. Lomachenko, Stevenson, Garcia. These are all multi-million-dollar fights just waiting to happen. But here's the real question. Will those fights even happen in the U.S. anymore? Because right now, Saudi Arabia is swallowing up the sport. Canelo Alvarez just signed a 4-fight deal with Turki Al-Sheikh, meaning he's locked in to fight in Saudi Arabia at least 3 more times, including giving up his traditional Cinco de Mayo fight in Las Vegas to fight there instead. Terence Crawford, the undisputed welterweight king, is set to fight there in September. David Benavidez, after saying he wanted to stay in the U.S., was seen meeting with Al-Sheikh just days ago. Even Oscar de la Hoya, instead of hosting a massive Latino night event in places like Los Angeles, Phoenix, or San Antonio, took the card to Saudi Arabia instead. The U.S. is losing its grip on big-time boxing, and Davis is one of the last stars standing. Not all money's good money. Nah. That's the part a lot of these fighters don't understand. Yeah, the Saudi checks are massive. But at what cost? Control, influence, the ability to dictate their own careers? Davis isn't blind. He sees what's happening. He's not saying fighters shouldn't make their money, but he's questioning what they're giving up in return. I just don't like how this guy comes into the game and he doesn't know anything about the sport. Nothing. And that's the core of it. Al-Sheikh isn't a lifelong boxing promoter. He's not a fighter. He's a Saudi government official with deep pockets and a mission to turn his country into a global sports hub. He's bringing in boxing legends like Roberto Duran, setting up extravagant fight cards, and making...
Send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it. He said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him,
moves that traditional boxing promoters wouldn't dream of. But he's also making fights that don't make sense, like Canelo versus Crawford, a fight with a major size disadvantage. Davis sees what's happening, and he's not willing to play along. Canelo is a natural super middleweight who has even fought at light heavyweight. Crawford, for all his greatness, is a welterweight. In any other era, this fight wouldn't even be considered. But Al-Sheikh is...
Davis, he said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
Making it happen. Not because it makes sense for the sport, but simply because he can. And now, there's talk of him creating new boxing leagues, completely changing the sport's structure. He's already backed a WBC league for young fighters, and insiders say another league announcement is coming soon. To Davis, this is exactly why he's staying away. The sport is being reshaped by someone who, in his view, doesn't truly understand it. He sees fighters lining up to kiss the ring, chasing paychecks.
If not, y'all gonna give it to him. So that's what made me like, oh yeah, I see what's going on. So now, give me 2 or 4 or 3 Ferraris. If not, ain't no point in me going over there for. Y'all got the money to do it.
2, 3, 4 Ferraris. Because I heard you said 2.
Without asking questions, but not him. He's standing alone, refusing to fall in line. Everyone's going over there. He keeps saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You don't know anything about the sport. How are you going to do that? That's the frustration. Tank is watching it happen in real time. Boxing's biggest names selling out, and nobody is questioning whether it's actually good for the sport. And the truth is, Davis is in a rare...
I mean, I was advised that. When my judge told that was the first time I've been, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
obviously, Drake and Kendrick, nigga, that's the hottest shit in the culture right now. Drake and Kendrick went at it. Everybody talking about it. When you listen to these records, what you feel? Like, how you, who's winning? Like, what Tank is listening to right now?
I ain't listen to it.
Position. He's one of the few fighters who can afford to take this stand. Most boxers don't have the luxury of turning down massive paydays. But Davis, he's already one of the highest paid fighters in the world. He sells out arenas. His pay-per-views do huge numbers. He's got financial security. He doesn't need Saudi money, and that's exactly why he's not afraid to speak up. And he's got a vision. Tank wants to be the face of boxing in America. He wants to keep the sport alive in Vegas, New York, and Los Angeles. He wants the biggest fights to happen on home soil, not halfway across the world under rules and conditions he doesn't trust. That's why
I just don't like how this guy come in the game and he don't know nothing about the sport. Like, he don't know nothing about the sport. Like, everybody going on like he wasn't even picking, like at first he wasn't even picking people that know stuff about the sport and position. He was just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
His fight against Roach Jr. matters. It's not just about defending his title, it's about proving that boxing in the U.S. is still strong. That a fighter can be a massive star without taking Saudi money. That there's still a future for American boxing. But after this fight, what happens next? TerenceCrawford doesn't see GervontaDavis as just another fighter. He doesn't see him as just another champion or just another name in the sport. To Crawford, Davis represents something much deeper, something personal. This isn't about competition. It's not about weight classes or pound-for-pound debates. It's about the kind of person Davis is, and that's where Crawford draws the line. When asked about it during his interview with Cigar...
Are you just not interested in fighting over there?
It's not that, but they came at me wrong the first time they ever came at me, which they said I will fight Devin, and then when he was saying like Devin was his guy, so I'm like, if Devin your god, y'all gotta pay.
Talk. Crawford didn't hesitate. There was no sugarcoating, no political answer, no forced respect. He made it clear. He does not like GervontaDavis, not one bit. Not because of anything Davis has done to him directly, but because of who Davis is, how he carries himself, and what Crawford sees as a false sense of arrogance, shielded by fame, money, and bodyguards. Nah, man, I just really don't like that dude. I just don't like him, like I really don't like him. I don't like anything about him. That's not a fighter hyping up a future opponent. That's not
Shakur against Tank.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you and Canelo Alvarez were not on the same page last year. Now you are. GervontaDavis, you're giving an invitation to GervontaDavis.
I don't take anything as a personal. I take it as I am professional.
All right.